I don't think marriage is for money, but there are some people in the world who desperate for money. My sister-in-law, Selena, was like that. I never thought something like that would happen over an inheritance when my brother, a surgeon, passed away. My name is Mary Smith. I am the manager of a jewelry store. I'm 31 years old and single, but I find my job very rewarding. And I'm thinking that it's time to get married, since my current boyfriend officially proposed to me the other day. Since we got engaged, we have met each other's parents, and tomorrow is our family meeting. Not only our parents, but also our siblings were supposed to come to the meeting. I have a brother who is 8 years older than me. My brother Tyler is a surgeon at a general hospital in Tokyo and seems to have a good reputation. Moreover, my brother is what I ask a relative who call a high-spec male with a good-looking face. Because of our age difference, my brother has spoiled me and been kind to me since I was little. You are finally getting married. I'm sure you'll be happy, but I won't accept it if some strange guy would show up as your potential husband at the family meeting. When I told about my marriage, he said it as if he were my father, and I couldn't help but laugh. Don't worry, he's nicer than you. I replied confidently, but my brother sulked a little. He said more than me. My brother's been married for 4 years, and his wife is also a high-spec. She is a high-spec only in appearance. My sister-in-law, Selena, has a clear nose and eyes like a model. She's the type of beauty often seen in cutting models. When my brother and she walk together, it seems like they are filming a drama, and both of them are often approached on the street. My brother, being in love with his wife, doesn't blame her at all for quitting her job or for buying brand name bags, and it seems that he lets her spend his money freely. She said, I go to Chloe's new release today, so I can't go there. It happened a lot that Selena misses a family gathering that she had promised to attend in the morning because of brand name goods like these. At first, my parents and I were inclined to defend her, thinking that she must be going through a lot with such a beautiful appearance. But gradually, Selena's behavior became unacceptable more and more, because she has also canceled tomorrow's meeting. Of course, she was not planning to attend the meeting at first, because it is not a problem if blood relatives come. But as soon as she found out that the venue was the lounge of a famous hotel, she said, I love afternoon tea at that hotel, so I will go to the meeting. If she wanted to go to the afternoon tea, she could go on another day, but for some reason, she decided to attend. And then canceled it the day before the meeting, even though we had already booked for the full number of guests. It's so rude. I don't have a problem if she doesn't attend, but I don't want to always be at her back and call. I tried to tell my brother, but he was too soft on Selena, so he said, I'm really sorry for bothering you every time and I make her listen to me well. Besides, I'll be there tomorrow. He persuaded me. What I don't like is not only her selfishness, but also the way she makes my brother, who is a busy surgeon, apologize to everyone, take messages, and run errands for her. Selena became a full-time housewife after the marriage, but she does not do any housework because she hires house cleaners and they mostly eat out. She's not busy, but her schedule is always dominated by branded bags and clothes. The next day, the meeting went well that my boyfriend managed to get his endorsement and the meeting ended peacefully. It was a really nice meeting, I thought, but it was short-lived. That evening, I got a call from Selena, as I was reporting that the dinner party has ended without an incident Selena suddenly starting yelling at me. It doesn't matter. You don't have to answer anything. I didn't ask you. Besides, where are my scones and macarons? I couldn't read the story and thought silently. Huh? What in the world is she talking about? I don't remember she asked me to buy sweets. I was about to ask her what she was talking about, but she interrupted me. She said, "Are you listening to me? Don't tell me you didn't buy it. You really are not attentive. Tyler, you and your sister are all annoying." Well, I don't think I was asked to buy any snacks. I tried to answer her, but she was still making screeching noises over the phone. She said, "I told you that I love afternoon tea at that hotel, didn't I? Since I couldn't make it there, it's okay for you to bring me a souvenir, right?" I see. That's the theory. As I was being convinced, even though I didn't understand what she was saying, the voice on the phone became even louder. "Hey, if you haven't bought it, go buy it. I was looking forward to it." But the main reason we went to that hotel today was for a family meeting, right? If you say that, then you should go because you had the whole day free today. I tried saying so, but she said never mind, and then she rattled off the phone. I wonder what it was. I was in a happy mood after the dinner party went well, but now I feel exhausted. I wonder if Tyler can get a good rest every day with her, who has such extreme emotional ups and downs. Why did he decide to marry Selena in the first place? Sure, she was a wonderful person on the outside, but she's so self-centered on the inside. I wonder if she was spoiled growing up because of her appearance? I'm worried about Tyler, but I can't interfere in his marriage because it is his decision. My brother also supports my marriage too. The next day, while serving customers at the jewelry store as usual, I saw a familiar figure outside the glass-walled store. It was Selena, and she was holding arms with a man of the same age. She is 10 years younger than my brother, so her partner must be in his late 20s. The two entered the store, talking intimately. I decided to serve them and called out to them. Then she said, Oh my God, you are working in the store? That's so funny." They laughed, without a hint of apology. "Who's the man over there?" I asked her fearfully, but she simply replied, "He's from my old modeling business." Even if they were old acquaintances, how is it possible for them to cross their arms when she is married? While I was puzzled, Selena leaned over to the glass showcase and asked me, "Can you show me this diamond necklace? And this one too. Can we get an employee discount here?" And so on. She was talking to me in a carefree manner. I was embarrassed to see her acting in such a brazenly flirtatious manner. So I explained to her while holding out the necklace that I could not offer any employee discounts. The truth is, though I can, I lied because I felt disgusted that the guy she was with buy it for her. Selena became a little grumpy, but she picked out some accessories and bought 2 fancy necklaces with diamonds on them and left. As expected, the man paid the bill. What kind of relationship do those two really have? I hesitated, but decided to tell my brother what I saw today. When I called him at night, he seemed to be in a worse mood than usual. I said, "Tyler, what's wrong? You seem to be in a bad mood." I thought something might happen with Selena, but I didn't tell him. He said, "No, I'm fine, Mary. You're getting married soon, right? Are you saving up a wedding fund?" "I'm saving up. We're planning a wedding next year. And I was wondering if you and Selena would join us." I told him about the wedding without mentioning about Selena, but his attitude was indecisive. I wondered what was wrong. "Mary, I have something to give you next time, so meet me at my parents' house." After saying that, he hung up the phone without hearing my reply. Maybe he was not feeling well. My brother, a surgeon, is more concerned about other people's health than anyone else, but he always put his own health on the back burner. My brother laughed and said it was an occupational hazard, but it was precisely because he was so busy that I was worried about him. I wonder if my brother is still having surgeries and every day. I don't think I can accept much support from Selena, his wife, who would normally be worried about him. After that, Tyler sent me an email informing me of the schedule of the gathering at my parents' house. When I contacted my parents, they received that email as well. When I went to my parents' house on that day, I found that my brother had already arrived. It had only been a few days since I last saw him, but his complexion was worse than I had ever seen it before. I said, "Hey, what's wrong with your face? Haven't you been sleeping lately?" Both my parents and I were worried and asked him about it, but all he said was that he was busy at work. I boldly told him in front of my parents what has been bothering me. The other day, Selena came to my store holding arms with a young man. Wasn't that cheating? Tyler, are you being cheated on? Again, her cheating habit is nothing new. I've been aware of this for some time. I've been too busy with my work to give her much attention. That's what my brother said, but my parents were furious. Come to think of it, she did not come to today's gathering. Of course, her absence was the reason I was able to bring this up. When I asked Tyler what was wrong with Selena, he said, "Selena is not here today. That's why I asked you guys to come here. I have a favor to ask to everyone," saying this with a serious face. My brother began to tell us something surprising. After finished listening, we looked at each other and asked him, "Tyler, is this true? Are you sure about that?" No matter how many times we asked, his answer remained the same. 3 months later, my brother passed away. He had stomach cancer due to stress and overwork. No wonder. He had to work hard every day, performing surgeries and working as a doctor on duty. But when he returned home, his wife was waiting for him, not only not doing housework, but not even worrying about him. My brother knew exactly what was going on with his body. He had undergone a thorough examination because of his discomfort. He found the cancer and treated it. I wish he had confessed earlier. Why do you always keep it to yourself, Tyler? I cried at the funeral, filled with a sense of helplessness. Memories of my brother, who spoiled me when I was a small child, kept replaying in my mind. He stood by my side when I fell down and when I did not do well in club activities. He left this world when he was still young, not even 40. I was sad and grieving and wondering what to do with this feeling. But there was one person who was out of place. That person is, of course, Selena. Her beloved husband passed away, and yet she wore the necklace she bought at my store that day of the funeral. The necklace was a flashy necklace with diamonds and was not suitable for a funeral. Moreover, it was bought by another man. It is disgusting, unforgivable. I turned my sadness into anger and grabbed Selena. "What are you doing, wearing such a thing? Don't you know how much my brother cared about you?" Selena, who was always in such a bad mood, said to me with a big smile on her face. "What are you talking about? Of course I know that." He was heavy, and it's normal in this world for people to treat me differently. "If you don't like it, don't marry me." "Don't say that in front of my brother." Both my parents and I could barely keep our voices down. "I hope this woman goes to hell." Even though I wished that, Selena's selfish talk continued. She said, "He's so busy that he's hardly ever home, and that's the end of us as a couple. But there is one good thing about being married. I, his wife, get an inheritance that I can play with for the rest of my life." As soon as I heard that, I slapped Selena. Technically, I tried to. My hand was tapped by a man who was nervy. When I saw his face, the man removed his hand and greeted me. "I am a nurse and I work for Tyler. He told me to protect you." I was pouting as the explanation did not ring a bell. Then I heard laughter all around me. It was a funeral, so why were they laughing? I turned around and saw some people. Among the attendees who looked vaguely familiar. They were nurses and fellow doctors who worked with my brother. I asked the man who stabbed me why they were laughing, and he replied, "The doctor didn't leave any legacy, did he? Your family would know." Yes, my brother didn't leave a penny of his inheritance. But Selena, who had not been told this, began to go crazy. "What? What do you mean? It's no use lying to me like that. They're going to cheat me and split the money among you and your family, aren't they? Tyler is a surgeon in Tokyo, so I can't wait to see how much he has saved up." Then the nurses' laughter turned into hysterical laughter when they heard Selena's word. My father stepped in front of Selena and asked, "You really don't know?" What? Explain what it is." Selena became impatient, so I explained to her that my brother had left money to me and my parents in advance during his lifetime, that he had left me 10 million yen as a wedding fund and gift money. My brother had lost patience with the stresses of work and family and regularly spent large sums of money on lavish entertainment. The more I explained, the more Selena's complexion changed from blue to white. My brother was basically a high-spec, perfect person, but he was someone who spent a lot of money to relieve stress. Of course, he never bothered anyone or went to these reputable restaurants. He just spent a lot of money and frequently held large dinner parties with people who supported him. He would rent out cruise ships for parties and stay in 5-star hotel suites. Probably all of these things he really wanted to do with his wife, Selena, but she was not present at any of his difficult moments. It was everyone at work who supported him. The nurses who had just burst into laughter are saying, even though he was always busy, he took care of us and invited us to parties that other doctors wouldn't. The party was truly amazing. It made me feel like a celebrity and made me want to work harder every day, even at my hardest job. Furthermore, my brother had donated the remainder of his estate to the hospital, and the bigwigs from the general hospital came to take him and say goodbye. They had been having trouble every year due to low research funding, but because of the large donation, his future medical care will go a long way. I see. There were so many people who he was kind to, not just us. And yet, Selena, who should have been closest to us, was yelling at his colleagues in a loud voice. We don't have children, so I'm supposed to get all of it, right? What are you doing, taking away from me without permission? You're a thief. You thief. I'll make sure that all of you pay me back every penny." With these words, she left. 4 months later, Selena called me. "Wait, what do you mean?" she complained as soon as she answered the phone. She was trying to collect a living will from us and Tyler's colleges while she was organizing her other assets, such as the mansion she now lives in and his bank books. When then discovered that Tyler had a large amount of debts. However, considering his earnings, 20 million yen is a small amount of money, but all of it had been taken out. Selena, who wanted the mansion, apparently went through the inheritance procedures without checking the details. She said, "Hey, we are family, aren't we? You'll help us, right?" My answer was obvious. Tyler is dead, so we are no longer family. If you have done so much for my brother, I will help you when you're in trouble. But how can you say that after being so selfish up until now? Wait, so I inherited both the mansion and the debt? If I renounce the inheritance, I don't have anywhere to live. I told Selena, whose voice was turning inside out with impatience. In a cold voice, I said, "Inheritance means that you also inherit debts. Besides, I heard that you can renounce inheritance after 3 months have passed since you were told about the inheritance. Why don't you sell the new brands you've collected?" Selena cried at my words and repeatedly asked for forgiveness for what she has done until now. But I just hung up. My brother passed away, so the wedding was postponed 1 year from the planned date. My husband and parents-in-law saw that I had been depressed, so they said it would be okay to postpone it a little longer. I felt like my brother would get mad at me if I looked too downcast. "I wish you could come to my wedding. I will live my life helping those who support me like you." I promised myself to do so and went to the wedding. My brother was very well liked, and after he passed away, many of his colleagues came to offer incense and visit his grave. When I heard that he spent money for everyone at work, I was honestly worried that they might be collected by someone. But if it was only about money, no one would have come. Every day, I respect my brother more and more even after he's dead. Oh yes, Selena might have to go bankrupt. The jewelry store I work at and exchange information in the same industry, so it is easy to hear rumors about people involved in the buying and selling jewelry. Recently, the main topic of conversation has been Selena's downfall. I heard that she was returning jewelry to a store she used to go, not just my store. What's more, a number of men have been spotted at the other stores different from the one I saw, and it's now possible that she's with about 20 others. Rumors began to circulate within minutes of the ones that had fallen prey to the ladies who loved drama. Some of them were married, and I wonder to how many of them she will pay alimony. As a result, she had to sell her mansion and is now living on the second floor of a restaurant and working 3 part-time jobs. But her debts aren't decreasing at all. Well, it's impossible with her spending habit. My brother used to spend money on people who were good to him, but she only spends it on herself. In a way, I guess she and Tyler were a good match in terms of raw spending. Still, I think it is wrong for me to marry for money, and I will always protect Tyler, just as he did for me.
Hey, the soup for breakfast is bland. Why is it so watery? What? It's not good? No, it's not. Make it richer, will you? But the doctor said I should watch the salt. Who cares? I love rich flavors. The one who's always complaining about the food is my mother-in-law, or Mill for short. She's constantly craving heavily seasoned food. But she's overweight and borderline diabetic, so her doctor warned her. She doesn't seem to care and just adds extra seasoning to whatever I cook. I was stunned by the unreasonable amount of salt and pepper she added to the soup I'd carefully prepared. Even though I use low-sodium salt and seasonings, it's apparently not enough for her. I keep thinking she's going to drop dead one of these days if she keeps this up. To be honest, I wouldn't be heartbroken if she did. Mill seems to live for giving me a hard time. All she does is complain and act spiteful towards me. I'm Alice, 29, working while also being a housewife. I've been married to my husband for 3 years, but we don't have any kids. The issue is my infertility, and Mill never lets me forget it. You're worthless as a woman if you can't have children. You're defective. Wow. You should be grateful just to be kept in this house. You're right. I'm defective because we've tried so many times, and I can't have kids. Talk about drawing a bad hand, huh? Ha ha ha. How could you say such a thing? Well, because a woman who can't have kids is finished. You're right, Mom. My husband laughed and agreed that I'm defective. I want a baby so badly. I've been going to the obstetrician while working, but nothing's working. It's physically and emotionally draining, so I've decided to stop the treatment. It also costs a lot, making it tough to continue for years on end. My husband used to say that spending money on fertility treatments was a waste, yet he pressured me to get pregnant quickly. What's the use of pressuring me? I can't get pregnant if it's not happening, I thought. After stopping the treatments, I considered the idea of living happily ever after, just the two of us. But my mother-in-law hadn't given up on having a grandchild. To taunt me, she even bought diapers and showed them off. Look, I bought diapers. Excuse me? You'll need them eventually, ha ha ha. Aren't those a bit small for you to wear, Mill? Ha ha ha. Hey, these are for a baby. Can't you see that? Well, I wouldn't know. I'm the defective, faulty woman who can't have children. Ha ha ha. That's enough. Angry, my mother-in-law stormed off to her room. Thank God, I thought, already exhausted from work and not in the mood to deal with her snide comments any longer. She must really have nothing better to do than to make my life miserable. We had moved in with my in-laws after my father-in-law passed away a year ago. My mother-in-law was devastated then. Around the same time, she was warned by her doctor about her risk of diabetes. That's why we moved in. My husband wanted to be there for his mom. But despite her diabetes, she's fine. As long as she takes her medication and eats properly, there's nothing to worry about. Well, considering she neglects her meds and eats whatever she wants, her condition will probably get worse sooner or later. Even if that's the case, I really don't want to be the one to take care of my Mill. I'm still working and super busy. Taking care of in-laws in my 20s? No, thank you. The next day was my day off, so I was doing house chores. My mother-in-law, who usually just lounges around, eating snacks on the sofa, suddenly stood up and walked into my room. I didn't want her in there, but my hands were full, so I just let it be. I cleaned your room for you. Ha ha ha. Oh, thank you. I sense something fishy here. I should switch rooms with my husband. You know, if you leave in such a messy room, you'll get bugs. Ha ha ha. But it suits you. Ha ha. Uh-huh. Go on. Enjoy your clean room. Sure, thanks. My mother-in-law seemed to think I was grateful, which made her behavior even more suspicious. I had a feeling she was up to no good. That night, I decided to sleep in my husband's room. He's been away on business since yesterday, so he won't know. Even if he finds out, I knew he wouldn't get mad, so I made my choice. I work as a nurse with irregular hours, so we have separate bedrooms. Part of it is that our relationship has cooled off, but mostly it's because I don't want to disturb him when I work night shifts. I waited until Mill went to her room and then went to my husband's room. All right, mother-in-law is in her room. Time for me to sleep too. And so I slept there for 2 days. My mother-in-law seemed suspicious because I looked too cheerful. She started asking weird questions. Don't you feel any pain or anything? Huh, what do you mean? Oh, never mind. Was there something you were suspecting? Avoiding eye contact, my mother-in-law ate her meal alone. I had the night shift that day, so I planned to relax at home before heading to work. Taking it easy isn't an option for me, since my Mill never lifts a finger around the house. She loves bossing me around, all while lounging on the couch, snacking, and reading Japanese comics aimed at women. She's probably reading and scheming what she can do next to make her annoying and bratty daughter-in-law cry. I saw the cover of her comic. It was sloppily translated into English as Epic Mother and Daughter-in-Law Swamp Battle. Couldn't help but roll my eyes at her choice of reading. Eventually, my husband got back from his business trip, but it was already 10 p.m. Ugh, I'm exhausted. I'm hopping in the bath. Sure, I'll heat it up for you. Have a beer in the meantime. Thanks, I will. Wait, it's not safe to drink alcohol before a bath. Fine, I'll go for a non-alcoholic beer then. He reluctantly drank a non-alcoholic beer because I warned him about the risks of mixing booze and hot water. You'd think he'd know better. Even saunas have signs warning against entering if you're drunk. But no, common sense isn't so common for him or my mother-in-law. After that, my husband took his bath and sang loudly. We live in a single-family home, but singing at this hour, our neighbors won't be pleased. La 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 la. Hey, you're too loud. Shut it! You're the one who's loud. I warned you quietly, so stop singing already. My Mill came into the bathroom area to chime in. Watkin is just trying to have a good time singing. What's the problem? What? You really don't know how to treat your husband, do you? Always so inconsiderate and full of complaints. Hey, I'm not the one constantly complaining, Mill. Ha ha ha. Back talk, huh? You're definitely not cute. Not that you're a beauty to begin with. That's fine by me. I'm probably a knockout beauty in some other country. No worries. Ha ha ha. After that, my husband got out of the bath and started drinking. It was already 10:30 p.m., and I needed to leave for the hospital where I work. Even though it's nearby, there's a lot to do, so I need to leave early. Oh, by the way, I've been sleeping in your room. Would you mind sleeping in mine tonight? My clothes are everywhere. Sorry. Sure. Doesn't matter to me. All right, I'm off then. Take care. I told my husband quietly, so Mill wouldn't hear. As I was about to grab my bag and leave, I heard my husband's loud groan. Ah! Ugh! What? What the? Watkin? He was curled up on the floor, clutching his leg and moaning. He looked to be in a lot of pain. Mill's face went pale, and she started to panic. What's going on? Speak! He couldn't say a word. No matter what I asked, there was no response. I thought I needed to do something, but then I noticed something strange. The floor was unusually slippery. I was wearing socks, but it was so slippery that I felt like I could fall. What the heck is this? Ah! Watkin! Mill, what on earth did you do? I didn't do anything! It's not my fault! Blaming my Mill right now wouldn't solve anything, so I immediately called an ambulance. My husband was taken straight to our hospital, and work was the last thing on my mind. He kept clutching his leg even after we arrived, visibly sweating in pain. You could tell it was serious. Ow, it hurts. So bad. Watkin, hang in there. Please, help me. Thankfully, a doctor was able to examine him, and it seemed like he felt a bit relieved. His leg was indeed broken, just as we suspected. He probably twisted his ankle the moment he slipped on that slick floor. It was a 5th metatarsal fracture, so it all added up. His foot was visibly swollen. Typically, people fracture this bone by tripping or putting all their weight on it. Speaking from experience, I twisted my ankle falling downstairs years ago. I heard a loud snap, and the pain was unbearable. I was also diagnosed with a 5th metatarsal fracture. I was lost in music while walking down the stairs, so it was quite embarrassing. I even lied to my close friends about it. Since his fracture didn't require hospitalization, my husband could come home. I was scheduled for a night shift, but my nursing supervisor insisted that I should take the night off. It's not a life or death situation, but I guess she was genuinely concerned. I survived, but now I've got a fever. Well, you broke your leg. Of course you'd get a fever. But why was the floor so slippery? Why don't we ask Mill about that, huh? Haha. Hey, what did you do to the floor in the room? Well, the floor was all slippery. That's why I slipped and fell. I could have seriously broken my leg. Well, that room is for my daughter-in-law, so I greased the floor. What? I was hoping my daughter-in-law would slip, so I put a lot of grease on the floor. I never expected you to go in there and slip. Ah, Unbelievable. Turns out my mother-in-law intentionally greased the floor to make me fall. She had claimed to have cleaned the room, but her actual intention was to put me in harm's way. I'm furious. If I had entered that room, I might have broken my leg. No, breaking a leg would be the least of my worries. Hitting my head could have been fatal. My mill is practically a criminal for doing something this dangerous. You're despicable. You're not even family to me anymore. I got seriously hurt because of you. I'm going to the police. Wait a minute. I didn't directly cause any harm, did I? Your wife is the one to blame. What? She told you to enter her room, didn't she? So this is all her fault. Shut up. That's not the point. You're getting arrested. My husband was furiously dialing the police. My mill tried to snatch the phone away, but couldn't overpower him. Even with a broken leg, my husband was still stronger. He was desperately holding on to his phone, speaking to the police. I couldn't help but think that I'd rather be at work, maybe even at the hospital, than deal with this mess. Neighbors will eventually catch wind of this horrifying situation. Well, since she almost injured me too, maybe I should also consult the police. What? We don't know for sure, but she might be charged with attempted harm. Wait, no, I don't want to be taken to the police. Really? You knew the risks when you did this? Or did you think you could just erase me from this world? Well, I did think it would be better if you just disappeared. Wow, you're the worst. Your mindset is criminal. Personally, I wish you'd just stay in jail forever. Let's get a divorce. What? I can't continue like this. If I stay in this house, you might actually erase me one day. I'm too scared to live with that. Plus, I can't stand your lack of morals anymore. Wait, don't say we'll divorce over this. Over this? You looked down on me, called me defective. Do you even know how much that hurts? I can live without you just fine. No, I need you. I was counting on your income. I even got a new car contract. What? I finally got the Toyota Century I've always wanted from Japan. I don't care anymore. I managed to clean the slimy floor and hastily packed my belongings into a bag. I stuffed more into my carry-on, took off my wedding ring, and placed it on the table. While rummaging through a shelf full of dishes, I thought about bringing the divorce papers. Ah, found it. The divorce papers you wrote before. What? Remember how you wrote that if I can't have a child within 2 years, we'd divorce? Thanks, I can't have children now, so let's divorce. You must feel relieved now. Wait, what about the loan for my Century? Who cares? I left the house and headed straight to the hospital. The compassionate charge nurse didn't probe when I showed up at the hospital. She seemed to sense I had my reasons. I'm a nurse, so I can support myself without relying on a husband. I wondered why I put up with being treated like a servant in that awful in-law family, enduring their snide comments. I started to feel like the whole situation was ridiculous, so I decided to focus solely on my job and stop dwelling on it. The next morning, I filed for divorce. He's now my ex-husband. Given the emotional pain he caused me, I consulted a lawyer about getting compensation. In the end, my ex-husband had to pay me, and I couldn't help but think, serves you right. Ever since the police got involved, it seems the neighbors have been giving my mother-in-law the cold shoulder. Because she blabbed about why my ex-husband broke his bone, everyone thinks she's a terrible parent. Understandably, my ex-husband no longer wants anything to do with her and seems to have kicked her out. Though there is some kind of survivor's benefit program, it doesn't pay much. She's been crying that living alone is impossible. She loves to eat, and because of her, our grocery bills were outrageous. So, living on just the survivor's benefit would mean a very modest lifestyle. As for my ex-husband, I don't care what happens to him anymore. He said something about taking out a car loan, but I have no idea what happened with that. I assumed he wouldn't be able to afford it on his salary. He took me for granted and thought I would contribute money too, which annoyed me so much. Even though he's not particularly wealthy, he's the type to buy a new car without thinking. Later, I started dating a doctor at the hospital, and 2 years after that we got married and were blessed with a child, which felt like a miracle after all I'd been through. From now on, I'm committed to doing my best for my family,